Hello, Cambly learners. My name is Niall and I'm a tutor on Cambly. Today we're going to be learning how to take notes for a lecture or business meeting. Okay, so imagine you're studying English online and you're trying to do something like an IELTS test or a TOEFL test. You get the result and you're going to go abroad, maybe to the US, the UK. You're suddenly going to be sitting in a lecture hall or a business meeting, and there'll be a native speaker who's talking for 40 minutes. You somehow have to absorb as much as you can. So today we'll be talking about how can you take business notes to help with that, to help remember as much as you can. First thing to remember is, like I said, it's not easy to remember everything, especially in a university where the vocabulary is already very difficult. A lot of people will use a laptop, iPad, their phone. I would just say, though, that in a business meeting, it's probably not a good idea to use a phone, just because it looks like you're playing on your phone during the meeting. And so it's a bit more polite to use a laptop or an iPad or something. You really want to make sure you have the key words, the key vocabulary, things you've never heard before. If they're written down, of course, on a PowerPoint, that helps. If not, try to just write down what you think the word is and try your best to find it. Hopefully you have a textbook, you have some other resources that can help you. I think another good piece of advice in a lecture is simplify. Don't try and copy everything word for word. If you look back on your books, you want to say, I remember what he was talking about, now I understand this part. You want to understand it mentally. Don't be afraid to ask a question in your university if you're studying. It's very normal in English-speaking countries to do that. So that's my advice for a lecture. I would say a business meeting is a bit different, and you really have to remember information like what do you need to do? When do you need to finish this thing? So basically in a business meeting, you're writing what does the company want to remind me? What do we have to remember? Or what am I going to do for next week? Who do I need to email? It does depend on the kind of business meeting. You might be in your own country, but you're talking to native speakers or foreigners who just speak English. For example, you're both in Asian countries, but you speak different Asian languages, so you prefer to speak English to each other. The main problem that happens in these situations is accents. There's not too much you can do about an accent except to try to get used to it and listen to someone with the same accent, maybe on YouTube or in a video, so you can just get used to the intonation and the way it sounds. The other thing that will be difficult is the speed. So this is more of a problem with native speakers. They usually speak too fast. If it's one-on-one, it's okay to ask the person to slow down. If it's in a business meeting, you just got to try and get the key information, the key words, and just listen out for dates, times, try and summarize what the person said. What are the 3 or 4 most important things? If you don't get anything else, just try and get the most important information. The last thing I want to mention is you might be in a situation where you have to give a kind of presentation at work, like in a conference call. Maybe talk about your project or your team for 5 minutes, and then people ask you questions. What's always better to do is just write down what you're going to say, but when you practice it, don't read what you wrote. Just write it down, then don't look at it and talk about it for 5 minutes. And then if you can't remember, read it again. Do it by yourself. Do it on your phone. I know it feels terrible and it feels awkward, but it helps. Yeah, and if you think you're going to be asked questions, just write down questions you might get asked. We hope this lesson was helpful. Comment below to let us know if there are other lessons you would like us to cover next. For those who are unfamiliar with Cambly, Cambly gives you instant access to friendly English native speakers, like me, and it helps you access online lessons anytime, anywhere from your phone or computer. Schedule your next lesson with me using the link below. And thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.